The year is 1999 and an inventive map called Rats hits Half-Life multiplayer. This little big map soared in popularity not just in Half-Life but in classic Counter-Strike as well. Created by the Cyber Rat aka Chris Spain, players never experienced a map quite like this before. And to help explain this wonderful creation, I'd like to have a special guest break it down for you. They've got quite a history exploring custom maps, so I hope you enjoy.
This is DE Rats, a bomb defusal map for Counter-Strike 1.6. This map is set within a scaled up kitchen. Players are appropriately rat size and scamper about the shelves and appliances while duking it out with each other. Terrorists spawn in the cupboard, while CTs spawn in the fridge. The CTs have to use buttons to open doors, which I find a bit odd. The bomb site is near the sink, close to CT spawn. I feel I have to question that choice. It seems really too close. This started as a Half-Life deathmatch map, so that might explain the positioning. The map features walkways and climbable ledges around the outside, creating a ring players can loop around without touching the floor. As a result, the floor is a dangerous place, out in the open and visible to all. You don't want to be here. What I like about this map is the interactive elements. There's a lift at the base of the fridge that takes you all the way to the top, providing a prime spot for sniping. There's plenty of traps. The fitting rat trap on the floor, the stove that burns you, and the can of spray underneath the sink. Oh, and of course the sink itself. You can also play with the sponge in the bucket. While playing this map, I can't help but wonder if it was based off a real kitchen or not. Maybe from someone's family home, perhaps.
Nice breakdown. Whomobile's channel features content exploring maps from a variety of Valve titles. I recommend his CS 1.6 breakdown of Blah by the legendary Nipper. Best part is you can send in maps for him to explore. He's always looking to showcase, so check out the channel and be sure to subscribe. Whomobile mentioned that this was originally a Half-Life deathmatch map. So the question remains, how did it become a juggernaut of a popular CS map? The story goes someone stole the map and ported it to CS, hence why there are some questionable design choices. The spawns are very bizarre and imbalanced. The sink bomb site is terrible, being it's so exposed and close to CT spawn. And what is up with these textures? These ladders make no sense. The wall is randomly wood here, and the countertop has a metal line through it. These are dead signatures of a stolen map. Map thieves use a decompiling tool to change level files into source files, and it's looked down upon in the modding community, especially if you didn't get the original author's approval. In this case, Chris Spain never gave his approval, and whoever ported it over did a pretty sloppy job. Despite the CS version's glaring flaws, the map somehow found massive success and has since outshined its Half-Life origins and fame. It's funny how the Rats moniker is almost always associated with CS rather than Half-Life. Looking back at the original Half-Life version, the map makes much more sense, starting with the fall damage. Falling only strips away 10 damage in Half-Life, whereas in CS, falling is assuredly death. The circular layout of the level for Half-Life creates a good pace for a deathmatch map. It's big and open with little cover that pushes players into fighting one another. I can't be the only one who thinks the CS version's awkward cover makes DE Rats feel so exposed. And it makes sense, it just wasn't designed for it. There's a few things missing from the CS version. In the Half-Life version, there's a button that triggers snarks to bellow out from the ventilation shaft overhead. What would be CT spawn is now a hazardous area that slowly kills you and makes the floors permanently slippery when you exit. I do think the freezer in CS is better, as I don't really like environmental hazards that much, but that's just me. Chris Spain pioneered this style, the Rat style, and since its release in 1999, he continued to expand upon the concept. With the hit success of the original Rats map for Half-Life, Spain went on to make several more sequels. DE Rats 2001 and DE Rats 2002, although similar in appearance, are reimaginations of the classic DE Rats map. A familiar looking level, but tweaked with some much needed love for Counter-Strike. Complete with spiffing new textures and more balanced gameplay, this time created by the Cyber Rat himself. T's now start under the sink. and CTs in the big cabinet where Ts originally spawned. And it looks really nice in here compared to the original. The bomb site has been relocated to the table where Toast is now toasting. The toaster is a little finicky as you can launch yourself way up in the air if you're not careful. And yep, the freezer still tries to kill you, even in this version. I have to mention these low-resolution textures. Something about the low-fidelity photographs slapped onto these primitive boxes really does it for me. And they're kinda humorous. The Hacksaw brand is a serious callback to the late 90s and early 2000s PC gamer slang. Really brings you back and makes you wonder whatever happened to leet speak. Does anyone say pwn anymore? This map is important because Chris Bay never got to release the original Rats map for CS. This map is what the original DE Rats could have been if the map thief didn't beat him to the chase. That'd be a weird timeline, huh? Rats 2 or DE Rats 2 2002 takes place in a bathroom. A cool concept that was once again stolen and ported to CS. Nonetheless, it's a great concept for a CS map. The bomb site's located on the tugboat in the bathtub. There's a cheeky little sniper's nest right above it. Careful though, as the button just below it turns on a fan, which will turn you into minced meat. The toilet, of course, is flushable. Is that a subscribe to crazy in a toilet? Wonder who put that there. Also, if you haven't joined my Discord already, please do. We're a group of old heads that like discussing classic Counter-Strike, exploring the game's history, and most importantly, archiving missing content from the game. We're everything Gold Source era, so we'd love to have you aboard. Alright, the area beneath the bathtub can be used to trap players once the valve is turned. The dread you feel when the water pours in scared the heck out of me when I was a kid. The tub trap seems kinda out of place for the CS version, but perfect for a Half-Life map. Someone chasing you, twist the valve, then wait for the kill feed to show you who you trapped. Very brutal. Between Half-Life and CS, the main differences are the window textures and the water heights of the toilet. In Half-Life, you can't escape without the Gauss gun, but in CS you can kinda just swim out. The healing container in the medicine cabinet only works in Half-Life. I wish it gave a little health back in CS, but it's CS after all. This is also where the sponge launcher makes its appearance. Its design takes after what you'd see in the Half-Life deathmatch map Bounce. Everybody loves this thing. I mean, look at it, it's goofy. Also, look at this toilet paper. It's purple. Overall, Rats 2 was a great Half-Life map and an even better Counter-Strike map as it ushered in better balance for CTs. They can traverse the floor, go through the bathtub, or even rush up into the medicine cabinet. But I'll say T's still have a massive advantage in Rats 2 with that iron citadel of a cabinet. Fighting against that fortress is no easy task, but I still love this level. Next in the series is my favorite version of all time, Rats 3, or in CS, DE Rats 3. Set in a bedroom, this will always be the pinnacle of Rats maps to me. This comfy little bedroom with its sloped ceilings is just so comforting. The creative use of Half-Life textures in this map really ties everything together, like this crate tarp for the bed covers. That green carpet's pretty nice too. And the unique tape player with the electrifying headphones. Yep, it kills ya. Spain also made custom cases for the tapes that are Half-Life themed. Gordon Freeman's greatest hits, and of course, the golden crates. These are going for thousands on eBay, by the way. They're excellent. Environmental hazards are commonplace in this map. The bedside Half-Life mug will cook you to death. Don't get too close to the cactus above, as it'll prick ya. And watch your step beneath the bed, as those jumbo-sized tacks will slow you down. I'm no fan of environmental map hazards, but they're a sign from the era. Lots of custom maps had things like this back then. I don't know why this was a thing, there was a certain humor to it, but we begrudgingly accepted it and somewhat expected it from custom level designers. Even Valve default maps had environmental hazards in them, believe it or not. The Survivor by 3D Mike had not just freezing water pits that would chill your giblets, but breakable floors that would plummet you to your death, all in the same map. Even in DE Torn, there's a fire that would roast you. It's just how things were back then, and I never really understood it. Anyhow, we gotta talk about the UFO bomb site. I love every aspect of its design. It's decked out in classic Half-Life textures. It's got a little shine to it, some nice glowing lights, and look at that command console. This thing's just begging for you to plant a bomb in it. It's just awesome, so mesmerizing. To go along with the alien craft, it wouldn't be perfect without the famous X-Files poster. I love UFOs, so this was just awesome to see as a kid. Till this day, every time I play this map, I ask myself, are we alone? Hope those fucking aliens are nice. There are other ornaments on the walls like Spain's website ads, and this photo must be of a family member. Pretty cool. Now let's venture into CT Spawn's catacombs. These back alleys feel like such a safe haven for us little rats. I think it's mostly due to the creative lighting, subtle Christmas lights. And neat little cobwebs. Even this one hiding right here. And if you listen closely, you can hear dripping noises. In this area, the combination of water dripping and the hum of the UFO just, I can't explain it. It makes my brain endorphic? Is that a word? Anyhow, we should leave. I could spend all day in here. This map feels lived in with all these details. I love these low poly pencils and, oh, a Xena the Warrior magazine under the bed, oh la la. These books up top the sniper's nest for T's have some weird low gravity on them. Never understood why, but kinda interesting. And you gotta love the launcher. I love the way it sounds and shoots out green lightning when you jump on it. Getting that perfect landing into the UFO cockpit is so awesome. Now let's talk about the icing on the cake for this map. The lights. One perfectly placed bullet turns off a majority of the level's lighting. With the lights off, the atmosphere in here is perfect. When it's lit like this, it really makes you step back and relax. The low lighting reminds me of being back home in my room when only a desk lamp lit my room. Nothing's going on. It's lovely. I miss those times. I love this map. It's a special one to me. I sometimes just load it up and walk around it. Does anyone else just wander around their favorite maps alone? It's great. The last map we'll talk about is DE Rats XL. It combines the original DE Rats and DE Rats 2 into one big mega map. If you thought Rats maps weren't big enough, well, guess again, because this thing is massive. As we've pretty much discussed these two maps, there isn't much to be said about them. Whenever this map came up in a cycle, it almost assuredly killed the server, seeing as if you died early, you'd be waiting a really long time to spawn back in, as there's tons of space needing to be covered to even encounter another enemy. This map was so much better for a deathmatch scenario. It always felt like more of a gag than a real map people wanted to play in CS. Anyhow, quite creative. YellowJello's article on Chris Spain's work really helped me make this project happen. It's the companion article to this video and gives way more context on the creator behind these maps. Most importantly, it highlights which Rats map Spain actually made. Chris Bain's Rats maps have been stolen and edited so many times, so figuring out which ones he made was a major pain until I read this article. In my map library alone, there are grips of Rats maps that Chris Bain had nothing to do with, so this article gave me important context. I highly recommend it. That's pretty much it for Spain's Rats map series. His maps are some of my favorites and inspired so many creations in the same vein for Half-Life and CS. His work was so inspirational, even I created Rats maps for 1.6. If you'd like to explore them, they're called DE Big Freakin' House, based off of the Soldier of Fortune 2 custom map Big Freakin' House, and DE Rats RV Alpha 5. This one takes place in the GMC RV from the Anchorman movie. No idea why I made this one, but I had a good time with it. Rats RV should be named something else, as Chris Bain notes on his website that he wasn't a fan of people borrowing the Rats title for their maps. He claimed it was his signature that people shouldn't be using. It's kind of like if a bunch of people started making their own Star Wars movies and shows. I'm sure that's never happened, right? I kinda got that message a little late, like 2 decades late, and I'm sure many other Rats map makers missed that message too. There are hundreds of custom Rats maps with entirely new concepts using the Rats title that Chris Bain had nothing to do with. I think most of us were unaware of the naming convention rule. In fact, I think most of us had no idea which Rats maps Chris Bain made. In any case, it just goes to show you how inspirational his work was for these early Valve titles.